Unbelievable. Oh my goodness.
SHW, this is our wrestling.
This is insane. Are you kidding me right now? Hey, what is going on here? The action is fast and furious. You never know who's going to show up in SHW.
Brandon Benefield, Gerard Bonner, and Diana Michelle.
Business is about to pick up. This place just went ballistic. What is going on, everybody? That's right, we're back. It's the SHW podcast, SHW. This is our wrestling. B-Double, GB, Diana Michelle. The whole gang is back, and it's been a couple weeks since we had SHW28, but still buzzing off of what a crazy show that was. It was an amazing show that had a crazy controversial ending. And how you guys feeling? First of all, I haven't talked to you in a couple weeks, so how's everybody doing?
Good, man. It has been forever. I feel like it's been like months since I've talked to you guys. And of course, you had the pay-per-view AEW, and I missed out, sadly. But, you know, it's been good. Been busy. Got some things going on. And
I see that shirt you're wearing. We're going to talk about that in a second because you just showed up on Good Company with Scott Bowling. Or you recorded it. It hasn't aired yet, but we'll talk to you about that experience. But GB, everything good? What's going on with you?
I'm good. I've been doing quite a bit of traveling. You mentioned Jacksonville, Diana. I was in Memphis and shot some cool content there. Got to visit my good brother Brandon Clack from the Faction. Actually, all three of us were together, and it's funny because we don't get to be physically in the same space very often. So it wasn't the greatest occasion for it, but it was good that we were all together. So some fun stuff, and then I got to go see some pretty cool places as well. So I've been releasing some of that content this week, and it's fun. Whenever a wrestling fan gets to go to the Mid-South Coliseum, it's a good day in the office. So yeah. So a lot of fun stuff there. So, yeah, that was good. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome. I saw the videos of Faction Hot Take earlier this week that you had. And did you just was there anything going on at the Coliseum, or you're just hanging out? And
no,
went to visit?
I was in Memphis, and you know, it's one of those things where it's like, you know, I'm in Memphis.
It's a landmark.
I gotta go by there. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
So it's crazy to me because it's been closed since like 2006 or something like that.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
Yeah. So there's not anything actually happening over there. There is a place called like the Liberty Bowl, which is right next to it. Yeah. And they've got lots of things going on over there. So it was kind of wild. You know, you drive up, and unfortunately there are no signs on it that would even tell you that it's the Mid-South Coliseum. So it's kind of weird, you know, but you just, thankfully GPS, you know, lets you know that that's what it is. And you just feel this amazing sense of history when you drive up on the grounds and things like that. So yeah, as a wrestling fan, you've got that in the South. You've got Madison Square Garden in New York. I mean, there are just certain spaces you go to, the Cow Palace in San Francisco. Like, there are just certain spaces when you go to certain cities you have to go to, and that was one of them for me. So, yeah.
Very cool.
Well, that is awesome.
Very cool.
You know, like I said, we took a week off, but, you know, we didn't get a chance to actually go back and kind of recap what happened at SHW28. And it was an amazing stacked card as per usual with SHW, but let's kind of just run through it real quick. We don't got to go too in depth, but just kind of get some thoughts and your feelings about everything. Well, to start the show out, by the way, the show is now available on IWTV. So I highly suggest, as we always do, to go check it out. Go to, I'm going to screw it up.
IndependentWrestling.tv.
I almost did. I almost said internet wrestling. We've all done that. Anyways.
When you think too hard about it, you'll do that. Yeah.
IndependentWrestling.tv. Sign up. Use the code SHW. Get 5 days free. And you can go back and catch up on all the stuff you missed at SHW, including the most recent show, which we're about to talk about. So,
Yeah.
but to start this thing off, we had, of course, an unscheduled appearance by David Ali, our champion, alongside
Unscheduled interruption.
alongside Austin Towers. And we knew David was going to be in the main event, defending the title against Logan Creed, but he showed up at the beginning of the show unexpected, and I think shocked everybody. He took the mic again from Diana like he tends to do, and I think even on commentary at one point I mentioned how nervous I get when he gets in the ring with you, because he's so unpredictable in this crazy mindset that he has. There's no telling what he might do. We've seen him punt Ravenna Vane. We've seen him go after GB, choking GB with the bat. We've seen him punt multiple people in the head. So you never know what he's going to do. And when you're in the ring, Diana, I'm just like, oh, just get out of the ring. Like,
I stay on guard. I always do. I always watch him when he walks around the ring. I never know if he's going to pop up right behind me and do something stupid. So I stay on guard just in case he wants to try me.
Yeah. And when he always likes to drop his stuff off on our table, on the commentary table. And so I'm always nervous, like, all right, just don't make eye contact, like, but so he gets in the ring,
but don't acknowledge him.
Right. And he gets in the ring and he really doesn't say, he looks like he's about to say something multiple times. Right. And the crowd's chanting. You kind of got some that are, maybe 30% of the crowd, maybe 40% are actually doing the Alleluia chants. And then the rest are just booing and going crazy and getting under his skin a little bit, which I think he likes it, and then he just shocked everyone with giving Towers the low blow and then going after him with the barbed wire bat there with Big Red. What?
He gave him a punt and a hit with a bat.
Yeah. Like, what were you guys thinking when all that happened?
Where's his mind? Well, I mean,
yeah.
For all this time that he's had Austin by his side, what caused him to turn on Austin Towers? You're 7-footer.
Yeah.
I mean, you're big guy.
Almost like an insurance policy, I thought.
Yeah.
And then,
I mean, your protection even, or, your faithful follower. What caused him to just turn? Punt him, hit him, kick him, whatever. I didn't understand it. I don't know. Maybe he's really lost his mind this time. Maybe he's really lost it.
Yeah, Chris Brown had a song. I can't quite quote all the lyrics, but I think there's this one phrase that he said when he said, "These folks aren't loyal." And I think that's probably very safe to say about David Ali. I don't understand how someone is your right-hand man, the guy who gets you out of all sorts of trouble, the guy who is responsible for 75% of the successful title defenses that Ali has had, and with no warning, with no, any sort of premonition, all of a sudden, boom, you kick him to the curb. And it really made no sense to me, because you're about to fight the biggest challenger you've had. So now I'm really going, what does he have in mind? Because to me, there's no way David Ali beats Logan Creed without Austin Towers. So to get rid of Austin Towers, and again, I don't know what this means. We haven't heard from Austin Towers. I'm very interested in hearing what his thoughts are. What could have possibly happened to cause Austin Towers to be treated that way when he's been nothing but loyal and faithful to David Ali? So I was as perplexed as anyone.
And I think we even speculated, you may have mentioned it, GB, on commentary about perhaps he's mad at the way the last show ended, but that didn't make any sense because Ali's the one that took the pinfall.
Exactly.
At the bunkhouse match. And so
exactly.
I mean, we were racking our brain trying to figure out, like, what is he doing here? I don't understand. Yeah. And I mean, obviously you just got to keep coming to the next show and the next show and the next show. And I'm sure some form or fashion, we're going to find out what he was thinking, why he did what he did. And you got to think too, Towers is going to have revenge on his mind to come after Ali at some point.
Absolutely. And I would be concerned.
He didn't seem to expect anything weird or anything out of order from David. I mean, he was doing his thing, hopping up, with his air or whatever. But it almost seemed like David was aggravated that he was not Alleluia him or was it like falling at his feet or raising him up, or he was just coming in like they were together, like a faction together or whatever. But it was almost like David was aggravated that his attention wasn't all on him.
Well, I would agree with that. Like, it's proven that David Ali does not play well with others.
Right.
So whether it's the New Era, whether it's this situation with Austin Towers, he doesn't play well with others. And in the immortal words of Dusty Rhodes, they had no honor among thieves. They had no honor. So clearly, no honor there amongst what David Ali. I don't know if we'll ever get an understanding of it, but apparently David Ali feels justified in all of this. I would be very nervous, though. It's bad enough to have Logan Creed wanting to come after you. It's bad enough to have Sunny Days, but another 7-foot monster coming after you, he's got a death wish. No way. No way.
Either that or he's listening to some demons in his head. I don't know.
I don't know. I have no idea.
Something's going on.
Something is definitely going on
inside that head of his, and it'll be, time will tell if we ever find out exactly what it is. But we will talk about what's coming up for him down the road, because we just found that out earlier this week. But let's finish going through this show. SHW28, our actual first match was AC Mack, and we thought it was going to be against Zicky Dice, the outlandish Zicky Dice. However, Zicky sent in a video explaining that he could not be there for whatever reason, claiming that his agent had got him a better opportunity or whatever the case may be. And so taking that place was Timmy Lou Retton, who we had seen previously in SHW in the tag team, the Gymnasty Boys. Of course, he'd been a tag team champ all over the place and has now, over the past year, branched off on his own, is doing amazing things on a singles run. And you mentioned it at the show, GB. He's lost a bunch of weight, is in the best physical shape he's ever been. And people had actually seen a match between Timmy Lou and AC Mack before, just not at SHW. And so when it was announced last second that he was going to be coming in, everybody started buzzing about it. Like, oh my God, this might steal the show. This is going to be a great match. And it really was.
Yeah.
There was a guest, as GB would like to probably call him, joined us on commentary unexpectedly. And actually his music came on like in the middle of the match,
right?
If you recall, and kind of distracted AC and distracted all of us. And next thing we knew, here he was kicking you out of your chair and joining us on commentary. And of course, I'm talking about Ashton Starr. And I don't know, how'd you feel about that whole situation, GB?
Well, I usually don't have a problem when someone joins us in the booth. It's always fun to kind of pick their brains. And we've had some interesting folks come through. At one point we had Logan Chase come through. At one point we had David Ali come through.
It's usually at least planned.
Right. We at least kind of know, we might have a visitor. But, to have guests show up. And I just, and every time I tried to do my job, guest would not allow me to. So, I mean, what do you say? In fact, it's unfortunate because as much as I was trying to watch the match, guests kept, in my ear and all sorts of really crazy stuff. Notwithstanding, this match made me a fan of Timmy Lou Retton.
Absolutely.
I love to see when people decide, hey, listen, I want to make a personal change. And then you go through all that you need to do. You do the work and you make the change. In this day and age, and I've nothing against people, who choose surgery as that route. There's nothing wrong with that. Guilty pleasure, we'll just say now, I have watched 600-Pound Life a time or two. And I've got nothing against, I have nothing against that, but there's a lot to be said for the people who say, I'm going to do it the old fashioned way. I'm going to do the work. And during a time when, COVID certainly put a lot of weight on people, he took that time for the weight to come off. 75 pounds in the best shape of his life. And to go from the security of a tag team to really do the thing on the singles level and to be able to come and compete against the former SHW champion. Man, my hats are off to Timmy Lou Retton. I hope we see him again in SHW. He was fantastic.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And like a highly popular tag team at that.
Yes.
And then to go out and go on the singles direction and making it kind of rebuilding yourself, remaking a name for yourself. And he's doing an amazing job. Absolutely. What do you think, Diana?
Well, I had never seen anything out of Timmy Lou. I mean, I thought it was cool that his name was Timmy Lou Retton, like Mary Lou Retton. I'm like, okay, he's totally into gymnastics. He was impressive. It was totally impressive. It was, I mean, the match was awesome. It was, you know, a lot of, you know, their chemistry was great. It was great. And I will say, you know, I wasn't always a big fan of AC Mack, but he's kind of grown on me. So he's one of my favorites. And to see him come out and really do, you know, his thing, and the fans kind of don't like him, and they kind of do at the same time. They got to hear that intro. I mean, I'm proud to hand him my microphone now. So here, take it. So, I mean, but yeah, I was totally opposite Gary on that one. I was for AC rather than against. So, yeah.
Well, plus it's one of those things too we've talked about in the past where you have somebody like AC Mack who's kind of like the hometown guy, like the home team. Right. You know, he's been with SHW since day one. Whereas Timmy Lou, he has appeared there, but it was a one-off tag team match, you know, over a year ago, and so you almost have that home team, support that AC has had. And we've noticed over the last couple months that he's kind of, there's more and more people each show that have actually been cheering him, which is kind of throwing us for a loop because we're like, wait a second. This is the same guy that used to berate the fans and, you know, kind of like what Ashton Starr does. So I'm sorry, guest. Sorry, GB, my bad.
No, all good. He's earned that title. He likes titles, so he earned that one.
Well, there you go. And just to kind of throw it back a little bit that might not understand the reference. If you recall, Owen Knight being a guest on the Petty Party.
Yes.
And so that's how Ashton continued to refer to Owen was as guest. And of course, that tees us up for our very next matchup, which was another match between Ashton Starr, aka guest, and the working team captain, Owen Knight. So Ashton, of course, was already at ringside because he was sitting with us at commentary. The match with AC and Timmy Lou Retton ended. Ashton proceeded to go in there and kind of jump on AC Mack. Here comes Owen Knight to kind of, I don't know if he was necessarily saving AC or if he was just coming down for his match, because if you remember the last show, AC kind of came out and made a save for Owen, and Owen did not want anything to do with it.
Didn't like it.
So I feel like people might have been looking at that kind of oddly because they were going, oh, Owen's making the save for AC. I don't know that was the case. I just think he had a match that was coming up next against Ashton, and so that's why he came out. I could be wrong. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe not necessarily saving AC. I think he was just sick of Ashton's, you know, playing games and his attitude and how he was, you know, how he's just been. So to have him standing in the you know back waiting to come out for his match and then see his opponent, who is Ashton Starr, go to town on somebody else just because he wants to. I think he got enough. He was fed up with it. So it being AC, that could start something. I don't know, but you know, I don't think it was the reason that he came out, not consciously.
Yeah, I think it was probably more about getting an opportunity to beat up on guests than it was, you know, hey, let me come save AC because AC's in trouble, you know? But I am glad to see Owen Knight get some degree of justice with a big win, which I thought, again, long overdue. And honestly, this is a rivalry that I could, you know, people start chanting fight forever. I could see them fight all year. Like, I really enjoy when these two get in the ring, particularly when Owen is able to get the win. And perhaps this was a good thing that, you know, Zicky Dice wasn't anywhere around, that Guest didn't have anybody else that he could, you know, partner with or team with, you know, that could have his back. But yeah, I thought it was a great match. Shout out to, again, Owen Knight. Fantastic job. And again, I'm hoping that perhaps this year, kind of the second half of the year, ends up being the year that Owen's able to get revenge for all of the crazy things that has happened to him on the first half of the year. And I think this is a good place to start.
I'm telling you, at some point, we've been saying it for a while now, but at some point, he's got to get a rematch for the title.
Absolutely.
And when he finally wins that title, it will be so long overdue that crowd is going to go insane.
How special would that be?
I mean, you know, and I don't know who will be holding the title at that time or when that may be. You know, don't look at what I'm saying as something, oh, they know what's, you know, it's coming up. We don't know.
No.
But I just have this feeling that, you know, he's always been in that title picture, in my opinion. As has guests, to be honest with you. But I know
that would completely define working team captain.
Oh yeah,
absolutely.
He has taken so many for the team, and he's worked his butt off. He deserves that. He deserves a shot.
And you talk about, you know, we've seen this match before, and these guys know each other so well. And sometimes people may, from the outside looking in, be like, "Oh, that might get stale. What more can they do?" To me, I'm like, "Well, they know each other so well. So how are they going to one up each other?" And it makes it that much more intriguing to me because, they know what's coming. They know what this guy can do and this guy can do. But that's what makes it so much more appealing to me to watch because I'm like, how are they going to do it? How are they going to one up each other? So that was a great match, as they always do when they collide. So, but again, it's one of those feuds that, you know, it ain't over. I don't think so.
It may never be over.
Who knows where it goes? Who knows where it goes from here? And like you said, once Sticky Dice returns, who knows what's going to be next.
Sticky Dice. Wow.
Let's talk about this tag team match with a huge stipulation, two big stipulations. Of course, I'm talking about the Honor Society taking on All-Star Special. The stipulation being, if All-Star Special wins, Logan Chase is forced to become their manager. They can do whatever they want with him, torture him, whatever, with the music, with the Waffle House visits, you know, whatever the case may be. I can only imagine Chase having to wear one of the brand new All-Star Special jerseys. And on the other side, if the Honor Society were to win, they had to, All-Star Special had to fork over all of their merchandise earnings, not just from SHW, but from all over at the other places they visit as well.
All they had to do was beat All-Star Special, and they would be financially set forever. Because that's
true.
All-Star Special has been merch masters right now.
They are constantly reordering, and I'm like, how are you doing that? I don't even want to put my table next to them.
So, well, here's what made me nervous for All-Star Special is that going into this match, it was supposed to be Cyrus the Destroyer teaming with Jordan Kingsley, and I got to be honest, I wasn't feeling good about All-Star Special's chances when Cyrus was in the picture. However, to our surprise, to the fans' surprise, Honor Society comes out for the match. There was no Cyrus to be found. Instead, they had an honorary member of the Honor Society called Stunt Marshall. Who we weren't that familiar with. I'd heard the name, but have never seen. Obviously, it was his first time at SHW, and you know, Chase gets in there with the microphone explaining that apparently his monster, Cyrus the Destroyer, had been given a big, what do you call it? A revolutionary opportunity. So whatever that means, but he wasn't there that night. And so filling in, according to Chase, this was all on Jordan Kingsley's shoulders. He brought Stunt Marshall in and said, "Trust me, we got this." And
so he was just like there filling a spot. And I really think they missed out. And I know Stunt. I've known Stunt since I've been in the business. And if they would have maybe, you know, put a little trust in his ability, even though maybe Logan didn't know much about him, they might have come out a little bit better off than what they did. But, you know, live and learn.
It's one of those things, too, where it's like, did Stunt find out at the very last second, just like the rest of us found out at the last second? And if that's the case, I kind of felt bad for him because he was a great athlete from what I saw. But he was just kind of in the wrong place at the wrong time, really.
You know, it's interesting to me. I think to myself, you know, about things like commitment. And, you know, there's this whole saying out there that opportunity should not determine your loyalty. And so part of me is concerned for the Honor Society because I can't imagine that such a major move is on the line for Logan. And Cyrus, who is his personal instrument of destruction, all of a sudden has a better opportunity than being there for the guy who brought you into SHW. If Cyrus wins this match, Logan isn't the only one that benefits from getting all of the proceeds from All-Star Special. I mean, all sorts of things could have happened. And so you go from Cyrus, the monster, the destroyer, to a virtual unknown in the world of SHW who has no real skin in the game or not, right? Like, if Stunt Marshall loses, there's no guarantee Stunt Marshall was coming back to SHW next month. He's just there to kind of, if you don't have buy-in for something like that, you come in, win or lose, no big deal. So it really shifted things in the favor of All-Star Special. And if I'm Logan Chase, I understand why he went off the way he did at the end of that match. Because, it's simple. It's just like, wait, not only did you cost me a lot of money, let's start there, but I don't think people understand, and it's probably good to hammer this particular point home. In the world of pro wrestling, wrestlers, they make their money obviously by wins and losses, but that merchandise sale is massive for them. Some of your favorites in other companies, really are able to supplement a lot of their income from the merchandise. And so the kind of money that All-Star Special is making from their merch in the independent world is not normal.
No.
I just need people to understand it's not normal. You buying those shirts, which they appreciate, and all of their merch, let's put it to you this way. You're not standing in everybody's lines. That's the first thing. Second thing, all independent wrestlers don't have merch. Yeah. So, there was a lot of money at stake here that was lost because it's like the Honor Society kind of checked out on Logan Chase. Which if I'm Logan Chase, I'm going back to the drawing board. Like, how did I build this whole thing to where at one point, remember, it was back in December where Logan got Cyrus into that scramble match to be the SHW champion.
Right.
You get your guy to the championship, and now he finds another op. Now, let me be clear. I'm not trying to stir the pot because Cyrus is a very big man.
Please stir the pot.
He is a very big man. I'm just saying what I see. And what I see is loyalty should not be determined by opportunity. And so yes.
Speaking of the loyalty, though, Logan is, I don't know, maybe it's just my perspective, but since Cyrus has been in the picture, it's like he's my personal instrument of destruction, blah, blah. But where's the praise for Kevin and Jordan?
Then there's that.
I mean, so why would you put your body, your life on the line for some guy who's pretty much thrown you out to dry because the big guy's here? I mean, where's the loyalty from your manager who's supposed to hold this thing together?
I told you, Chris Brown said it. They aren't loyal.
Let's just say this. Cam Carter disappeared.
Where's Cam?
Kevin Ryan.
Where's Kevin?
Not there last few months. After what happened at the last show, Jordan Kingsley now. And that'll get us to what ended up happening was, Jordan Kingsley.
Jordan Kingsley's the only one that has been there every time.
Right. And he's been there since day one. And we saw how it ended. And again, I don't know how much detail we want to go into because we still want people to go back and watch it on IWTV.
No, by all means, go watch.
And is that the end of that relationship, or is that just a little tiff?
And here's the question.
Me, I'm like, I'm done, but that's me.
So is Cyrus the one that wasn't loyal, or have all these people left because the common denominator is Logan Chase?
Logan Chase.
I don't know. Just saying.
I mean, can Cyrus make it without Logan?
Yes, but can Logan make it without Cyrus?
Thank you.
Boom. There you go. So, let's just go ahead and put it this way. I'm super excited because now Logan Chase has to become the manager for All-Star Special.
And
I want to
I
see
don't
him
know
in
if
a greasy white T-shirt with sweat rings over the armpits.
I don't know if this was on IWTV or not, but certainly during the intermission, it had already started where they had Logan out at the merch table, which he was not so happy about. So
forcing him to take pictures with fans
He was wearing
wearing
the All-Star Special shirt, and he was taking pictures with fans,
and
he was gold.
and he looked
yes,
absolutely miserable.
Miserable.
he did. I
Like,
live for moments like that.
fumes were coming out of his shirt. It was just like,
Yeah.
so what was he gonna do?
By the way, I forgot to mention, how could I forget? This is always one of the funnest parts of every show when the SHW Youth Choir joins us.
Yes.
And we have the entrance of All-Star Special. We never know what's going to come out of the jukebox this month. It was YMCA, and the entire place was absolutely rocking.
It was so fun. That's always a fun song wherever you are, but
you just got to be there, folks.
Part. I look forward to every show to see what's going to play on the jukebox next.
Yeah.
Because I know it's going to be one of those anthems that everybody's going to rock out to, and it doesn't matter what it is. Sweet Caroline, if you can rock out with Sweet Caroline, oh my God, come on.
Yeah, absolutely.
We always say all the shows, it's always about moments, right? And at every show, when they come out to the ring, it becomes a moment because the entire place is on their feet. Streamers are flying in from every direction. Everybody's singing at the top of their lungs, whether it's Friends in Low Places or Metallica or Sweet Caroline or YMCA, whatever it is, it's just always a lot of fun. And so that's one of those moments where all I can tell you, folks, I'm sure it comes across great on IWTV, but it comes across even better when you're there in person.
Even better in person.
Because your ears are ringing afterwards because the whole place gets so loud.
Oh, I've seen so many people post like in days and days after the show. It's like that whatever song is living in my head rent free. I can't stop singing. And I promise you, I sang Sweet Caroline for like 2 weeks after the show. The first time, it's like everywhere. And my coworker's like, "Why are you singing that?" Let me just tell you what happened.
You had to be
and they don't get it because they wasn't there or whatever.
Right.
I get it because it's like I'm living it again.
Absolutely.
So much fun. It's the best.
One of the controversial things that happened at SHW28 happened shortly after this match. Gary comes out to the ring, does his usual shtick, cuts a promo, praises the crowd, thanks the crowd for being there, is very excited. Made a few little announcements here and there, and I'll let you go on IWTV and watch those to hear them because we'll be talking about that kind of stuff down the line a little bit. But something that caught everybody off guard, and I got to tell you, I'm not super shocked because we know how Gary can ruffle some feathers and rub some people the wrong way. So the fact that this happened didn't totally shock me. However, it did make me a little concerned with our security in the building because this seemingly a fan, which by the way the guy was moving and the way he went after Gary, appeared to me like a professional wrestler. He was dressed as a fan and had a hood and a mask. Jumped over the rail, jumped in the ring, went right after Gary, took him down pretty quick, but before everybody else could get to the ring, a dude jumped the rail and headed straight for the parking lot. And I never heard if anybody caught him or anything like that. To my knowledge, everybody was just shocked and going, "Who in the world was that?"
Yeah.
And I got to tell you, my first thought, Gary had this whole online beef with these guys, Exotic Youth, who Exotic Youth has appeared at SHW before. Bryce Cannon, of course, has appeared alongside Honor Society at one point as well. So there was kind of this back and forth online spat between Gary and those guys that was ongoing for a couple weeks, I guess.
Yeah.
And I thought maybe, again, I didn't get a good look at the guy. There was a hood, there was a mask. Perhaps it was one of those guys. I don't know. Did you guys have any inkling of who it might be?
None whatsoever. I mean, it could have been. I mean, they have made their way to the action building, obviously.
I saw where they had showed up one night and put a bunch of flyers outside of the action building.
Yeah, they did that. I mean, that was on a Thursday, I believe, but yeah, they did that. They have a petition to put a billboard, Exotic Youth billboard up in Canton.
Yeah. Really?
They have a petition. They're taking up money to put it up there.
Wow.
Because
I got to give them credit. If they pull that off, that's
it'd be awesome. I know, it'd be crazy.
Impressive.
But I mean, when I guess Gary kind of, threw a little shade on them because they had such a good review in their last, their last show in Augusta and in what was it, Warner Robins. So they didn't like it. They called him back out, and there goes the feud. There it goes. And I don't know where it's going. Is it still going, or I don't know? But it was very entertaining, to say the least.
Yeah.
Yeah, my concern with moments like this is Gary Lamb has not made a lot of friends in this industry. And so we could think that it's exotic youth, but the truth of it is every promoter has been the target of Gary Lamb.
Yeah.
And so, it's not a secret that SHW runs the first Friday. It's not a secret where the action building is. And, we all drive varying distances to get there. Listen, a 3-hour, 4-hour, 5-hour drive is worth being able to get 5 or 6 shots off on Gary Lamb to some people. And so,
it's going to be seen by a lot of people.
And they know it's going to be on IWTV. They know the internet streets are going to be talking. They know this.
They know it's going to be in the reviews. They know it's going to be mentioned.
They know people are not going to gloss over this. So to me, sure, the obvious ones, if you're following things, could be exotic youth. However, exotic youth have been in the back door. They could just walk down the aisle. They don't have to come through the front door dressed in hoods. After all, they put up those flyers with their identity in plain sight.
I agree.
So they don't have to go that route. I don't think it's them. I think it's somebody who has been biding their time. They were tired of going back and forth on the socials with Gary, and they figured Gary's not going to punch back. And so they said, let me get Gary where he least expects it, because nobody's going to come into Gary's house while Gary's in the middle of the ring doing Gary's thing and take his shine. Nobody's crazy enough to do that, or so we thought. So I think this could be one of those moments where perhaps Gary's words have come back to bite him. And let me tell you why I'm really concerned. 4th of July weekend is when our next show is. People have time. They have time to make their way to the action building. And I don't know how they got past security. I don't know. I'm imagining security will be beefed up, on July the 2nd. He
could have bought a ticket.
He could have. He could have. We don't know. All I know is it was a very unsafe moment, because my thought is, if a promoter perhaps will send somebody to go after Gary, perhaps what's next is not going after Gary, but going after something that's important, or someone that's important to Gary. This could get very interesting.
Yeah. It was just super shocking. And
yes,
shocking things happen all the time at SHW, but this was like on a whole nother level, if I dare say. Because it wasn't like a shocking moment in the title match. It wasn't like a shocking debut of a new talent on the roster. This was like shocking of the fact where it was like, no, wait a second.
Yeah.
Because
very few people in SHW history have even laid their hands on Gary.
Right. But this is like one of those things where
Loading Creed putting him through a table. This isn't Lethal Poison grabbing him and roughing him up a little bit. This is somebody completely unknown who jumped in the ring and just stomped him into the mat.
Yeah. This isn't on my match card. This isn't supposed to happen. Like, what's wow. It was very shocking. So I assume we'll hear from somebody about something. I don't know if Gary will put out a post about it, or I mean, he put out a post, but he didn't really go into too much depth. Well, I don't know. I think he was just
replying to the fans who were asking if he was okay, but it wasn't anything in depth. So I mean, maybe he knows who it is. Maybe he's got something in the works. I don't know.
No telling. But speaking of, I mentioned as we see new faces show up on the roster, we had a newcomer to SHW who unfortunately didn't get to show his stuff for very long in this match. I was hoping to see a little more of him. I'm talking about Skrilla the Great, as he took on the monster of SHW, Sunny Days. Sunny Days, of course, out there with Ravenna Vane. And from the little bit that I did get to see, I thought Skrilla looked great.
Yeah.
I just wish we could have seen more, and hopefully we will see him more in SHW. I don't know. Again, we don't book the matches, but I wouldn't mind seeing him some more. But of course, Sunny Days, who's kind of been in this ongoing feud with David and Austin Towers, kind of been so fired up and his blood's been boiling. They're coming off that big bunkhouse win last month. Dare I say, I mean, he just kind of tore through Skrilla the Great.
Yeah. And I'm a Skrilla fan. I won't lie. I love the guy.
Yeah.
He's good. He's got great energy. He's got a great fan base, and he's fun. He's fun to watch, and he's talented. I think he might have bit off a little bit more than he could chew by taking that match with Sonny. But you know, he for the 3 minutes he was in the ring, he gave a decent pace. He gave a decent showing. Wish it could have lasted at least maybe 5 minutes, but you know, we'll get the 3, and maybe next time he comes back, he'll have a little better game plan. But yeah, I'm a fan. Skrill. Yeah. Skrilladelphia.
Timing is everything. And I think if this match happened 8 months ago, 9 months ago, Skrilla could have possibly won the match.
Very possible.
But 2021 has been the year of Sunny Days.
Yeah.
Sunny Days has never looked better. He's in the best shape he's ever been in. And there's a fire that's under Sunny Days that really, really shows up in every match. Everything we've seen him do in 2021 has had nothing but fire connected to it. So Skrilla the Great is great had he had another debut against perhaps anybody else on the roster. But Sunny Days right now can't be stopped. And so he continued to prove that at SHW28.
And Ravenna looked awesome. Did she not look awesome?
Yes, she did.
She always looks great. Yeah.
Presence. Just.
Yeah.
She's amazing.
I got to tell you, like, she's always very impressive, but also very intimidating. I'm not
very.
If I'm being honest.
Very.
Very intimidating. You don't know if she's going to bite a hole in your neck or fall you to death. I don't know, but she's very. I love her.
But she's got the beauty, you know. It kind of draws you in, and then boom, she'll get you.
Oh yeah.
You got to be careful.
Yes, definitely.
Well, that brings us up to our first of 2 championship matches. Of course, I'm talking about our tag team championship match, the very first title defense for Technical Excellence, Chip Day, Kyle Matthews, and defending, surprisingly, against the Buchanans. You know, we discussed how Bull has done something, slipping some money to Gary Lamb backstage or whatever the case may be. I don't know, but he pulled some strings somehow or another, despite their not so great record, win-loss record, that is. Was able to get themselves, him and his son Ben, a tag title match. It did not turn out too well for them, but I will say it kind of
the second one.
Right,
yes,
their second tag title match.
In like what, 5 months?
Yeah,
correct.
So we've tried to make sense of it. Nobody can really explain it to us. My only logical thought is he's pulling some strings backstage, maybe slipping the right people some money. I don't know. Don't quote me on it, but something's going on that's a little fishy in order to get another tag title match. But
well, you do things for your kids, right?
True.
I'm not saying he did, but you do things for your kids that, you know, try to give them more opportunity. So, you know, whatever.
You never know. But, you know, we talked about this at the show, GB, about just how surprising it was. Now, we knew Technical Excellence, a very technical team. However, I did not expect Ben and Bull Buchanan to be just as technical. And a lot of that match was a lot of technical wrestling. Then I thought back, well, you know, Ben was a Alabama state champion at his high school. So, I mean, he knows what he's doing, obviously. He learned it from somewhere. So, he learned it from his dad, and so he knows what he's doing. And so I think it shocked a lot of people that, wow, we're getting a pretty technical match here.
Yeah.
Bull did a drop kick. That was amazing.
Right.
Right.
That was amazing. Yeah, it was. I was like, wow.
Yeah.
Not shocked, but like, wow, I got to see it.
Right. Right. Yeah, it's certainly amazing to have seen that. And again, to your point, I did not expect that at all. It's kind of one of those cases of when in Rome, do as the Romans do. And so, you know, clearly, I guess they felt being technical would be the way to work. Personally, I think you don't try to beat somebody at their own game. So they're called technical excellence for a reason, because they are the tag champions. And between them, my God, you're talking about 12, 13, 14 technical wrestler of the
Wrestler of the
year
year.
awards between them. In fact, one of them has it named after him.
Right.
So, I mean, that speaks volume. So you can't play chess against a chess master. And so, as we saw, technical excellence ultimately took that to their advantage. And really, go back, watch the match. You will be surprised, as we were, by the technical expertise of Ben and Bull. But we were equally more shocked with what happened after the match, which, with Father's Day coming up this Sunday, it just really drives the point home of how ungrateful sometimes children can be when, to your point, Diana, Bull went out of his way to really help his son by getting them once again a tag title match. And this is how he is repaid. I just think, yeah, Ben, not a good move.
Some kids are just hard-headed, and it seems to be that's the case with Ben. The last few shows, last few months, I mean, everything Ben's trying to or Bull's trying to tell him, trying to help him, trying to guide him, trying to teach him, trying to steer him in the right way.
Mm-hmm.
Throwing it. He's a loose cannon, basically. He's being his own
cannon.
I was just about to
pretty
say,
much.
speaking of which,
Pretty
yeah.
much. He's taking after the filming. But I mean, that's what I see. I mean, he's like, no, Dad, I got this. You don't have to you can't tell me, you don't know what you're talking about. That kind of thing. The whole, adolescent kid type thing. You don't know anything.
Yeah.
I know what I'm doing, but do you really? I mean, who's your daddy?
Yeah, well,
honestly, who's your daddy?
He's been there. He's done it. He's been to the big leagues. Like, he knows what he's doing. And, you touched on it there. Like, over the last few months, we've seen this dissension a little bit at a time and been wondering, like, okay, I feel like it's just a matter of time before Ben finally just splits off. I didn't expect him to do it in such a drastic and harsh way.
Right.
Like he did, where, they kind of did the shake the hand hug, and then he turned his back, and then boom, he went after his already injured knee that had got injured during the match, and it was pretty despicable. Like, it was hard to watch.
I have no words for that.
And you mentioned, like, hard-headed. That's exactly what it is, because we talk about it over and over. All the potential this guy has. He's a blue chipper. He's got everything it takes to get to that next level, to be a great professional wrestler, but he's just got to listen.
Yeah.
And I don't know what's next for him. I mean, time will tell. We'll find out down the road. But man, it was a great match too. And to see it in the way it ended with him attacking Bull was just kind of made you sick to your stomach. But it was hard to watch. But earlier we talked about newcomers. We had yet another newcomer in the women's division, trying to go after the queen of SHW herself, Danny Jordan. She was taking on Harlow O'Hara, who, Diana, I know you had seen her before, GB. I know, like, we had heard the name. I was unfamiliar with her personally, but I'd seen some video and some images and was like, wow, she looks like visually stunning, like with her whole entrance. Like, even as she came out, that entrance, we were just kind of.
She's like, oh my God, this is amazing. Is there a choir of demons coming out behind her or something? Because it's like, she's scary, but she's intriguing. I mean, I don't know. I couldn't stop watching her.
She's
like look away, because I mean, her gold hair, and I don't know, it was the crown, the cape, everything was just, it fit her to a T. I mean, that you can tell that was who she is, and she's awesome in the ring. Holy crap!
Yes.
Well, so I was kind of concerned because Danny, had this issue with Rekka Tahaka, who made a surprise appearance not too long ago, and I felt like Danny kind of had that in her back of her head, and maybe was a little too focused. I was like, is she going to be focused on Harlow O'Hara here? Because this ain't no joke. Like, you're thinking of this other competitor, then you got a tall task ahead of you here, and I think she had her hands full. But what'd you guys think of the match? I thought it was an amazing match overall.
Yeah, it really was an amazing match. I think Danny has not. Danny's accustomed to fighting opponents that might be, larger than her in terms of height and reach and that type of thing. But the aggression is what Harlow is probably, and I'm thinking, one of the most aggressive competitors that Danny has ever faced. And you could tell Danny was trying to figure out the cheat code and couldn't quite unlock it. It was as though everything Danny did, Harlow had an answer for it. And it was amazing to see. It's definitely one of the best women's matches we've had in SHW. And I think it alone is worth going back to IWTV to check it out on there, because it's really amazing. SHW28 on IWTV. This match was something special. You definitely have to go back. And I have been lobbying for it. I will lobby for it everywhere I can. This is another reason that we need the SHW Women's Championship, because this was a championship caliber match.
It really was.
And I don't be surprised if we see Harlow and other amazing female competitors come out of the woodworks when this SHW Women's Championship shows up. And I'm going to keep saying it until we see it.
Yeah, you have to speak it as though it is, right?
It's going to happen.
It's going to happen. It's going to happen. And I think Danny may have had it was a match. It was a total hard-hitting match. And she's always had a way of holding her own, no matter who she's against. You see it on AEW. She's the IWE champion right now.
Don't tell Gary you said that on our show.
What else is he gonna do? It's just get mad at me or something. I don't know.
That may be who came for Gary.
Of SHW here, taking on another promotion and being the champion of another promotion, but she's the queen of our show, right? So that's a good thing. She is spreading her ability outside of SHW and taking over.
Yeah,
that's a good thing, right?
Absolutely. So I agree. GB agree. I'm just saying. Boss man.
Okay, I said their letters, okay, but she's taking over other promotions, which is just more dominance for SHW in my eyes, right?
And to your point, she'd be taking selfies with the SHW Women's Championship too.
Right. She definitely would. She definitely would.
Yeah.
But she was SHW first, and she'll always be queen of Southern Honor. So I'm all for Danny. I do think with Harlow and her ability and everything that was going on in that match, she had to dig a little deeper. She had to hit a little harder, kick a little harder. Oh my God, the moves that she even did on Harlow. She did the J drop, for God's sakes. How in the world did she pull that off? But she is smaller than what she was. She's trimmed down. She's toned up. She looked great, but she was still smaller than Harlow. But that J drop was bomb. Oh my God.
Yeah.
So it was very impressive to hold her on and to, take her stand and still be standing at the end of the match. Yes.
And she took several licks that had both of us kind of like, there was one move. It was almost like a Falcon Arrow, but it was almost like a combo of like a Falcon Arrow and a driver, where I was like, but then she was able to get up and come back.
I've seen Harlow do that to a guy before, and it made me cringe. I was like, oh my God. So, she had her hands full, no doubt.
Yeah.
Very impressive match.
Well, then after the match, she had a brief stop by GB's headset there and had some strong words for Rekka Tahaka. So I know that's still down the line here. And
he's very emotional about that.
And we haven't seen the last of that. Yeah. So be very interested to see where that goes. But it was interesting because she didn't come grab a mic from Diana. She went straight to GB's headset, kind of yanked it over, and GB's like,
I had it for her. I was ready to give it to her, but she wanted to get into that camera and make sure everybody on IWTV heard it.
That's right.
Right.
That's right.
Well, let's talk about this matchup. And this is kind of saying a lot because I feel like all the matches of every SHW show are highly anticipated matches. And I think that's the truth. I'm not just saying that because I'm a SHW homer. I really believe that that's the case. But this one aside from the championship match, was probably one of the most highly anticipated ones, and it was the return of Joe Black to in-ring action, where he was going to be teaming with Gunnar Miller, surprising everyone, which I was still kind of in shock that they coexisted as a tag team, and they took on, of course.
Put the roof back on the building yet?
Yeah, as a roof come back on, yeah, because the roof definitely came off a couple times during this match.
Definitely.
As they took on Lethal Poison, Corey Hollis, and Michael Judas, and this was a matchup where they didn't even like the bell. They went right after it before the bell even rang, and it was right off the bat. It was hard to keep up with because you had two guys over here on the outside, two guys over here on the outside, and GB and I are both trying to keep up with the action on either side of the ring before it finally got back in the ring to become an official matchup. What a crazy, crazy match, and what an amazing return for Joe Black to in-ring action. We had a surprise return last month where he announced that he would be returning to in-ring action this month, and the crowd was nuts. Crowd was hyped. Crowd was hype all night long.
Oh my God! If you're Joe Black and you're coming out and you see and hear and feel the energy from the crowd and the love and the welcome that they have for you to come back to the ring after we didn't know how long he was going to be gone with that leg injury, that knee.
Right.
How do you harness all of that and not lose it? I would be like, lost, done. But he just, it's like he fed off of it. And you could see it in his face.
Yeah. Yeah, we've missed Joe Black.
Yeah.
We have absolutely missed Joe Black.
Yep.
And, you don't know what you've got till it's gone. And when that injury happened last year, we really didn't know what was going to happen. It shocked us all after we finally got to see him reach the pinnacle and become the SHW champion. And so to see this triumphant return was absolutely special. And he looks great. He's in fantastic shape.
Yeah.
And he did this one thing when the match was over, and there were so many other things going on, but he kept motioning around his waist that he was interested in the SHW champion.
He won his title back. He never lost it.
He never lost it. And so I didn't know how long it would be before he would express interest in that, but apparently it's not long at all.
I don't think he ever lost interest, UB.
Well, here's the thing. He had a vendetta against Corey Hollis to get out of the way first on his way to that title rematch to claim the title that he never officially lost. And, of course, if you remember when he gave it was almost, I wouldn't say retirement because it was more of like maybe a farewell, because we honestly, we knew he was injured. And how long will it be before he comes back? The way he spoke that night in December, I didn't know if he was going to come back. Because he
was
brought
talking about being a son again, being a brother again.
He brought his boots to the ring, and
he turned him in.
It almost was at that point kind of like, oh, he's going to leave his boots in the ring, and this might be the last we see of him. And then to ruin that special moment, Corey Hollis, of course, attacked him with the chair, and beat up on that leg that was already injured, and so you knew he had that first on his list of when he made his way back, going to go take out Corey Hollis. And that's exactly what him and Gunnar Miller were able to do, is take down Lethal Poison. And like you said, GB, started motioning right away, that belt motion. And, I mentioned at the top of the show, David Ali's who might be down the line for him. Well, we'll get to it again. We're going to talk about this main event match first. But if you haven't figured it out already, it's Joe Black, July 2nd, SHW29. But let's talk about this title match that was a fantastic match for the most part.
Crazy.
Until the end. I'm talking about the Heathen Logan Creed finally getting his another shot at the title, a chance to become a two-time SHW champion, taking on David Ali. And like we mentioned at the top of the show, David Ali had taken out Austin Towers, who I thought would be his insurance policy because he's taken on his biggest opponent yet. So, I'm thinking, what is this guy thinking? Or is he not thinking? Is he so far gone that he's kind of just, I don't know. I don't know what he had in mind, but.
It's like he's put this, I don't know. Something's taken over, because it's like he's not human. Not necessarily in that he's destructible, but he's just not thinking period. It's just like he's moving, and I don't have any words. I don't have any explanation to even try to understand what he going on in his mind. No, what is he even doing? Does he even know what he's doing? He's just kind of moving through the motion and just being, I don't know. Is there any explanation? Is there any kind of understanding to be what's going on with David Ali?
I don't want to get inside his head.
Yeah, no.
It seems like a terrifying place to be.
Yeah, it's a horror story.
So I don't want to. Yeah. I don't want to try to figure it out unless he just comes out and can explain it to us. I have no idea.
Even if he tried, I don't think I could. I mean, it's just twisted. I don't know. It's crazy. Yeah. Psychotic.
Yeah, no, you're right. It's twisted. It's psychotic. It is. I mean, you have to be that to call yourself the savior, and then to say you're the savior of Georgia wrestling. That's a major responsibility to put on your shoulders. And so this match, it was just wild. And we thought we had a new champion. I was convinced we had a new champion.
That place erupted.
Absolutely.
So did we.
We totally did. And so, but everybody's just talking about how things went off the air, which I still don't understand the reasoning behind what David Ali did. I don't understand. The match was over. You still had your title intact. I don't understand it, but there really does need to be repercussions for this kind of activity. It is not becoming of a champion. I can't believe that this is the face of SHW. This is not. Yeah, I mean, I don't somebody's got to do something about this.
Nothing's going to be done. I mean, Gary's already said.
Which I just,
I don't get it. I mean.
So here's the other thing too, and I'm still haven't even gone back and watched it on IWTV myself. So if you've seen it, you know that this was the craziest way we've ever gone off the air on a show. Mm-hmm. Normally, GB and I will still be at the commentary booth, and we'll thank everybody for watching, and we'll see you next month. That's usually how we end every show. This time, it got so out of hand. Everybody, people from the back, GB and myself, we dropped the headsets. We ran to the ring to try to get David Ali out of there and to check on Logan, who had been taken down. If you've seen it, you know what I'm talking about. Like, it was just crazy. It was very hard to watch. And so at that point, we didn't even know how the show was going to end on video, just because we had left the booth and it was so chaotic.
As if the bunkhouse brawl wasn't, violent enough.
Right. You thought that was as crazy as we've seen, and then somehow David Ali decides to up the ante a little bit by getting some fire involved.
Yeah,
but
he's not in his right.
It was wild. It was absolutely wild. But I was going to say, in all the commotion, I was still, and even haven't gone back and watched it, still a little confused as to what the actual call was, because I thought I heard that they disqualified Logan, but then I thought I heard that David was disqualified, and due to disqualification, David would keep the belt.
They disqualified Logan because,
and that was my understanding. But then you read some reports that heard that it was, David got himself disqualified, and so it was so chaotic and so confusing. But the bottom line was David still left with the title in his possession, and. We talked about what could be done, what's going to be done. Well, they said there's not going to be a reverse decision after what ended up happening.
There's not going to be a suspension.
But what we do know is that Joe Black, as we heard earlier this week, and we saw him signaling that he wanted that title shot, he's going to get a title shot. He's going to get a shot at the belt that he never lost. He had to relinquish it last December due to injury. And he was told at that time, you saw the video earlier this week. Gary told him at that time, when you come back, you get a shot whenever you want it. And he's getting that shot on July 2nd, SHW29. And hopefully, and I know we're supposed to remain unbiased here, but hopefully Joe Black will be the one to finally end this reign of terror.
The month of July has historically been a very powerful month when it comes to championships and anticipated matches. I just go back to July 1990, the Great American Bash. Sting and Ric Flair. We were waiting for Sting to finally get his shot at the world championship, and he gets it, and he wins the championship. And so I'm in that mindset, and yet I am torn because every month it seems as though, David Ali's championship reign should be over. It should have been over in January in that steel cage match. It should have been over in a first blood match. It certainly should have been over, with Logan Creed, and we thought it was over. The question now will be, can Joe Black be the man to end this historic championship reign of David Ali? It has been a reign of terror, and for all of the craziness that has happened, he can now say he is the SHW champion with the most successful title defenses, more than any other champion in the history of this company. And so whether we like him or not, we have to acknowledge that, I can't believe I'm going to say this, when they begin talking about the Mount Rushmore of SHW, one of the faces on there has to be David Ali, simply based on the fact that he has had more successful title defenses than any other person to hold this championship. And he's creeping up on the longest reign of any champion. And so what will happen when he takes on the guy that SHW fans have wanted to see as champion for the longest time, Joe Black? July the 2nd is shaping up to be another can't miss moment in the history of SHW. You got to be there.
You definitely got to be there. You cannot miss it. And let's be honest, GB, he kind of does already have the longest reign without the asterisk.
Yes.
Because, if people are going to say, well, Corey Hollis had it the longest, but 6 months of that was everybody sitting at home during a pandemic.
Yeah, so, and he has more than twice the successful title defenses of Corey Hollis. So we can start making. I don't want him to. When he hears this.
That's the thing. Like, we don't want to give him credit. It's painful to give him this credit, but it's true. Like,
it is what it is. David, and then you got Big Red, and you have Austin Towers, and whoever else has kind of helped it along. He's just the face.
I think that's what shocked me the most about him retaining at SHW28 is the fact that Austin Towers, what happened with him, Austin Towers wasn't a factor in this match.
Right.
I thought right away, I was like, okay, so there's no way he's leaving here with this title.
Absolutely.
And when we had that crazy ending where everybody thought Logan Creed was the new champ.
He didn't pin Creed. He didn't pin him. He actually tapped.
Yeah.
True. That's true.
It's, and that's the thing. He has found a way, which is the crazy part. It's been cerebral. It's been underhanded. No, it's not above board, but he's still the champion. And so, like it or lump it, David Ali right now is the face of SHW. Can Joe Black fix that? Can Joe Black right the wrong that happened to him back in December of 2020? We're going to find out in a couple of weeks.
Absolutely. So as we said, July 2nd, SHW29. We've got a couple weeks. Of course, we're going to talk about that leading up to it a little more and more. You've seen some other match announcements. We'll talk about all the rest of the match announcements as we get closer. Real quick, though, let's touch on a couple things just real briefly here before we sign off. Something that shocked a lot of people was an announcement for the Rumble Jack coming up in August, where we found out that this deathmatch legend, especially in the Southeast, a man by the name of Tank. Now, GB and Diana, you'll both remember prior to the pandemic, we were getting ready to tee up this SCI, the Southern Cup Invitational, and Tank had been announced for that. Now, of course, pandemic hit. We never got to go through with the tournament. Who knows? Hopefully we'll have that coming up at some point, perhaps in 2022. We'll see when it gets here. But that never got to happen. But we did find out Tank will be coming to the Rumble Jack in August, and that got the crowd buzzing because a lot of the fans of SHW, especially in the Canton area, North Georgia area, they know who Tank is. Tank's been around a long time. The guy, Rev Dan Wilson, that he had speaking for him was something you'd see out of a Rob Zombie horror movie or something.
This has been Bodie vibes all over again.
Yeah, like Sin Bodie, like just creepy, just scary looking dude. And so that's going to be intense. Then you also had Gary talking about wanting to shoot for SHW 1000 again in October at our 3-year anniversary show. So there's some big stuff coming up. You got Rumblejack, which is always exciting.
Yes.
We got the 3-year anniversary coming up in October. And now that the pandemic has kind of loosened up a little bit, of course, like we said, I think in Canton at the Action Building, I don't ever know if there were any real super tight restrictions anyway. But Gary's saying they want to shoot for 1,000 again. Of course, last time we had 1,000 was at Retaliation a couple years ago, where we had what we kind of call the AEW invasion, where not only was Cody and Pharaoh there, but you also had Jericho, and to everyone's shock, Omega showed up. So
yeah,
you never know. You never know what's going to happen at an SHW show. And we've got several months of some big stuff coming up that we're excited about. And of course, that's all starting with July 2nd, SHW29, and Joe Black getting the shot again for the title that he never lost. And I cannot wait. Of course, we got a couple more weeks of this show before we get to that show. But it's going to be exciting. Got a big summer ahead, folks.
It's going to be amazing. Going to be amazing.
Yeah. Well,
I'm ready to see this whole entire card. I'm ready to see who we're going to be showcasing. I guess
it's going to be exciting. You know, we've seen a few announcements already, and of course, we'll talk about those coming up, like I said. But I think it's going to do it for this one. That was a big SHW28 to kind of recap there. And like we said, we encourage you to go on IWTV and check it out for yourself. But y'all have anything to leave the fans with before we sign off here?
Be there. Watch it on IWTV if you want. Definitely do that. But it's not the same. It's not the same. Come out. Come hang out with us. I'd love to meet you guys.
Yes.
Always feel free. Yeah, come by and say hello. I know Diana's got her table up front. You know, we did something different. We went out front and did the kind of the pre-show out in the
I love that.
Where all the merch stands were out there.
Sure did.
Amongst the people. So that was kind of a fun, different look for us for the pre-show. So who knows? Maybe we'll visit different parts of the building. I don't know.
You just never know.
You just never
Snack
know.
Bar, you know.
Yeah, we'll do it from the concession stand next time.
Oh, right.
Get our hot dogs before everybody gets there.
Cool. Oh, you can even go out and talk to the fans as they're walking in.
That's another fun thing that the crowd, I don't know, people that haven't been to a show might not realize this, but fans show up hours early and tailgate out in the parking lot. It's like you're at a football game or a baseball game. People are legitimately
they pull grills out of their trucks.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Chairs.
It's a pretty
coolers.
It's a cool sight. It's crazy.
It's crazy.
Oh, we just can't wait. But we will be back next week, and of course we'll talk to you then. But until then, this has been
SHW.
This is our wrestling.